Sophie halted in her tracks and turned to look at Mark. Thanks. Mark had offered all the warmth and concern he could muster to her, but alas, she really could not reciprocate it. Why don't you guys head home? There's no need to keep waiting here. The test that morning was 2.5 hours long. Sophie reckoned the whole thing would probably come to at least 3 hours, give or take. As such, she thought the Wheelers being there was just a waste of time. They could very well just go home early. You're the star of the show today, so you don't need to worry about us. Go on now, said Mark with a smile. After all, they showed up to cheer her on. The last thing they wanted was to make her worry. Okay. Sophie had her arm hooked around Tristan's as they both huddled under an umbrella. Slowly, they both made their way to the entrance of Gypsdale Premier High. All right, since you can't enter, I think you should go home too. When they reached the security checkpoint, Sophie stopped walking. Tristan held up the umbrella to shield them both before lowering his head and kissing her on the lips. I believe in you. To him, Sophie had always been someone who did not make others worry. Sophie could not help but laugh. All right, I got it. But there's only one umbrella. How will you go back? It's raining cats and dogs now. I'll be fine. Just go on inside. It's been a long time since I've been caught in the rain. Immediately after saying that, Tristan stepped out into the pouring rain. I'll be waiting for you. Sophie's heart was filled with warmth as she took in Tristan's touching gesture. He had always been like this, waiting for her. Sophie nodded. You should get a change of clothes before you catch a cold. With that said, Sophie turned around and walked in with Isabel. Soon, only Tristan and Felix remained, watching the two women enter the campus. The first test was Shanian language. After receiving her paper, Sophie's mind began to wander. Has Tristan gone home yet? Did he change into something warm? However, such thoughts were only fleeting. Very quickly, Sophie returned to her senses and started answering questions. She was the type who could answer questions speedily. A single glance told her everything she needed to know about the question and the correct answer. As such, Sophie managed to complete the entire test in one go. After she finished, she realized that she had 40 minutes remaining. In the meantime, the rain outside had already stopped. The sun was out, shining brightly. Because one could not submit a test early during a university entrance exam, nor could they leave early, even in the last 30 minutes of the test, Sophie had no choice but to find a comfortable position on her desk to nap. The invigilator spotted her sleeping and glanced at his watch. Seeing that there were 40 minutes left, he shook his head. Despite so, he made no move to wake her up. This was a university entrance exam, after all. There was nothing he could do if she was not going to take this seriously. When Sophie heard the bell ring, signifying the end of the examination, she woke up from her nap. Everyone stood up and waited for the invigilator to collect the answer sheets and scripts before filing out of the examination hall. When Sophie emerged from the doors, Isabel was already outside waiting for her. How do you think you did, Sophie? Isabel thought that the test this time around was quite simple, and she was confident in her ability to score at least 140 marks. It was all right. If you're going to give me that answer, I shouldn't have asked, huffed Isabel. Knowing her, she'd probably still manage to get full marks even if it were astonishingly tricky. Any deducted marks would be from her composition, I bet. Hearing that, Isabel was rendered speechless. Ugh, this is what happens when you're friends with a top student. She's torturing me with her nonchalant remarks. Is no one going to pity me? Let's get going. Seeing that Sophie had not moved, Isabel stopped to urge her on. Let's wait for the crowd to disperse a little first. Seeing this many people makes my head hurt. Sophie was not particularly fond of crowded spaces. Okay. Isabel did not care either way. As such, she stayed behind to wait with Sophie. After all, what the latter said was true. Willow was also at Gypsdale Premier High. After leaving the classroom, she saw both Isabel and Sophie standing there. She originally planned to pass by the corridor, but after seeing the two of them, she immediately made a detour. She had no desire to get into another conflict with them. Each time it happened, Willow had no upper hand. This made her somewhat fearful. Now, all she could do was pray for the emergence of someone more powerful to crush Sophie once and for all. That was the only thing that could put her mind at ease. When Isabel noticed Willow had opted for a detour, she felt smug. I think Willow has finally learned how to behave. Tell me, since we're not trying to bully her or anything, why does she always try to pick a fight with us? Isabel truly found the woman despicable, which made it difficult for her to hold back. Don't let yourself be influenced by someone who doesn't matter, chided Sophie. It was only when the crowd was almost gone that Sophie and Isabel decided to leave too. Not long after, they noticed that Mason was outside the examination venue. Sophie, hissed Isabel. What's he doing here? Mason had already received surgery and was now on the mend. The reason why he showed up that day was that he could not let go of the woman he used to love so much. Meanwhile, Willow spotted Mason as she was leaving. This time, she did not move any further. Seeing Mason there stirred up feelings of discontent in her. Regardless, this was the man she used to like very much. Even in his current state, Willow could not let him go. However, he was only here for Sophie. Mason walked toward Sophie and looked at her warmly. When Sophie noticed his expression, she frowned. She had no desire to see such a look in Mason's eyes anymore, for it would have only been a burden to her. I know that you've got your university entrance exam today, Sophie. That's why I came to cheer you on as well. Surely you won't mind? Asked Mason gently. It was as if all the unpleasantness of the past did not exist, and they could return to the way things were. At least, this was what Mason hoped for. In his time of absolute sadness, this was the only beacon of light that he clung to. Isabel was about to respond when she noticed that Tristan was nearby. In the end, she chose to remain quiet. Forget it. There's no point in me making a scene now. Nonetheless, Isabel was concerned that this was going to draw her uncle's ire. Mason, there has long been nothing between us. Whether I succeed or fail today has nothing to do with you either, replied Sophie resolutely. She continued, we've never had a thing going. I only asked Arius to help you because I was being hounded by your mother. Mason's expression gradually became sadder. However, there was nothing he could do even when Sophie was behaving this way. There was nothing he could say. If anything, he only had himself to blame. Regardless of what happens, I hope you do well. Without warning, Mason produced a large bouquet. He then presented it to Sophie with a flourish. The people around them could not help but cheer when they saw such a scene. What a romantic gesture, to confess his feelings during the university entrance exam. This guy must have really liked this woman to do it on this day. Sophie did not accept the bouquet. I'm sorry, but I don't have time for this. My boyfriend is waiting for me. Naturally, Sophie had already noticed Tristan. Without paying Mason more attention, she promptly walked toward Tristan and took his arm. Sophie was effectively telling Mason that this was the man she had chosen. In fact, she could not care less about Mason being in her life. As such, he did not need to mind what she did. Tristan ignored Mason as well. While he did feel annoyed at the latter, he still did not do anything. It was simply not worth his time. Tristan pulled Sophie closer by the waist and led her away from the gathered crowd. The nosy crowd watched the interaction with great interest. After all, it was not every day that one could see two very handsome men fighting over a woman. When Isabel saw Tristan leading Sophie away, she quickened her steps and walked toward Felix. Were you waiting outside with all these parents too? Yes. Mr. Tristan insisted on it. Uncle Tristan likes Sophie so much that he's willing to wait for her outside. I'm so envious of this relationship, said Isabel with a longing sigh. Felix rolled his eyes at her. If she weren't this dim-witted, we'd have a relationship worth envying too. Who does she think I'm waiting for? Isabel was completely oblivious to Felix's advances. Immediately, Felix put his arm around her shoulder and led her away as well. Trust me, Isabel. You're going to make other women envious as well. Of course. I'm such a desirable person, after all. I'm certain I'll meet a devoted man someday, retorted Isabel playfully. If I'm being honest, I don't really have much faith in my future marriage. I mean, look at how many upper-class marriages end up in shambles. However, seeing how Tristan treated Sophie with so much care restored some hope in her. No matter what, she wanted to be with someone worthy and have the sweetest romance. Meanwhile, Mason stood rooted to the spot, his eyes never leaving Sophie. The woman was already spoken for, but he could not let go of her. They used to be so close. That day, however, he did not even have the chance to be by her side. Mason. Willow walked toward him, intending to say something. However, seeing the heartbroken expression on Mason's face rendered her speechless. Does he like Sophie that much? It's just Sophie, after all. What's so great about her? When Mason saw Willow approaching, his gaze turned cold. He no longer had any feelings for this woman. Now that Sophie was gone, there was no need for him to linger. Mason turned around and made to leave. Mason, do you blame me? The question made Mason turn around and glance at Willow. Willow, thank you for saving me. But I am not interested in you. I also won't hate you. The choices she made did not concern him in the slightest. They were hers to live with. I'm sorry. In the end, an apology was all Willow could offer. All this while, she had been too selfish. Mason smiled in relief. Willow, stop obsessing over things that don't belong to you. Just be the bigger person and move on. After saying this, Mason entered the car parked by the side. It was his turn to leave as well. He sighed wistfully, wondering if he was ever going to meet another woman like Sophie. One could not recover what was lost. Willow merely stood there and wept uncontrollably. After all this time, she was nothing but an outsider. His sadness or joy was never any of her business, to begin with. It was her presumptuousness that got her here. Even if she felt upset, there was nothing she could do. Mason did not like her. No matter what she tried, nothing was going to work. At the end of the day, no matter how much she was wronged or hurt, no one cared. It seemed to her that nobody in this world gave a damn about her. All they cared about was Sophie, as cold and distant as she was. When Tristan brought Sophie back to Wisteria Apartments, Mark and the others were still there. Upon noticing her arrival, Sunny immediately ran over to greet Sophie. "How did you do, Sophie?" asked Sunny excitedly. "It was all right." "I see. Well, you shouldn't mind too much. It's just a university entrance exam, after all. Even if you didn't do well, it's going to be okay." Sunny assumed that her response was half-hearted, so he immediately tried to comfort her, worried she was upset. Isabel stared at Sunny as if she were looking at an idiot. My goodness, Sunny. Does he really have no idea how insane Sophie actually is? If Sophie says something is all right, it usually means that she can get a near-perfect score. She's so used to being calm that regardless of how she does, she's just putting on a show. However, Isabel felt no need to tell Sunny all this. She knew that once the results were out, Sunny was going to be in for a shock. "That's right. Regardless of how it goes, it's done and dusted," said Mark encouragingly. Isabel was speechless. Forget it. They have no idea what Sophie is actually like. At noon, everyone gathered for lunch at Wisteria Apartments. Since so many of them were there, Tristan ordered food from a Michelin-starred restaurant. When everyone had their fill, Sophie started herding Mark and the others away. After all, it was just a university entrance exam. There was no need for them to linger around her. Sunny was quite upset. Since Tristan could stay, why couldn't I stay as well? However, when he saw the reproachful gaze Sophie gave him, he could do nothing but leave quietly. "Mark, Sophie is so mean. Why is she doing this to us? After all, we're here to cheer her on. Sunny, can you please shut up?" Another band member could not help but sigh exasperatedly while rolling his eyes. Sunny is truly clueless. By right, the one who is the most upset had to be Mark. So why couldn't Sunny just keep quiet and give Mark some peace? Sunny wanted to say something else, but Mark's expression shut him up immediately. All right, I was in the wrong. I won't do it again. Sunny was quite terrible at reading the room, constantly running his mouth and saying things that made Mark uncomfortable. You don't need to worry about me, I'm fine, said Mark. Do I not look okay? There's no need for them to walk on eggshells for my sake. I'm a grown man. Why would I mope and sulk over a small matter like this? Mark, love is a strange thing. Sophie's lack of interest doesn't mean that you're not good enough. One of the band members could not take it anymore. Granted, they all liked Sophie, but Mark was their troop leader. He was the one who spent all this time getting them to where they were today. As such, it was only natural that they were going to take his side. Mark gave his band members a smile. I'm really fine, you guys. Don't worry about me. Why are they all looking at me like this? Regardless of everything, Mark, you have us. We'll step into the battlefield together and become the kings of Shanian music. Sunny exclaimed. Since the girl he liked did not like him in return, he might as well focus on work instead. After all, the career-driven Mark was attractive. He would not have had that many female fans otherwise. Yeah, you're right. We'll work hard together and become kings of Shanian music. Mark reached out, and the other four stacked their hands above his. That's right. Why should I waste my time on fleeting concepts like romance? Since I can't get her, I should focus on work instead. My passion has to go somewhere. After Mark and the others left, Sophie lay down on the couch. She was most annoyed with Shanian exams, for too many things needed to be written. She could still feel the slight ache in her wrist. Seeing her rotating her wrist non-stop, Tristan came over to sit by her side. After taking her hand, he gently massaged her wrist for her. What's wrong? Does your wrist hurt? I've been riding for too long, so my wrist is a little sore, she explained. It was not that she was whiny, but she was just that uncomfortable. I see. Tristan said nothing else as he continued to massage her wrist. He used the right amount of force, and that made her relax. While Tristan was focused on massaging her wrist, Sophie was focused on staring at his face. Wow. It feels like I'm falling for him again. Am I really that shallow? His looks are exactly my preference. I never thought he was this handsome in the past, so why am I falling deeper and deeper for him the longer I'm with him? What a strange thing. What's the matter? Why are you staring at me? Even Tristan, the model child of calmness, was starting to feel ill at ease at her continuous stare. I was just wondering how someone can be this attractive, Sophie frankly replied. Tristan was speechless for a moment, for he never expected her answer to be that. Am I being flirted with? If someone were to ask him how it felt to have his looks praised by his girlfriend, Tristan might not be able to give them an answer. All of a sudden, Sophie stood up and grabbed his chin before narrowing her eyes at him. What's the matter? Am I wrong? Sophie, at that moment, was extremely alluring. Tristan's heart was even starting to pound louder. He then narrowed his eyes. Aren't we in the wrong roles? In the next second, he pinned the woman under him. That's not possible. Don't you know that I think everything you say is right? Also, I'm glad to hear that you like my looks. It's better to have her like my face than hate it, right? Isabel did not intend to interrupt Tristan and Sophie. She was only coming downstairs to consult Sophie on a mathematics question. Yet, this was the sight that greeted her. Once again, she froze. Hey, isn't this too much? Felix and I are still around. Felix, who had gone downstairs with her, noticed her sudden stop and asked, "What's wrong?" Isabel whipped her head around to glare at Felix. Can't you keep your mouth shut? We're doomed. I can see my Uncle Tristan glaring at us. Isabel's courage fled her immediately. Unlike Tristan, Sophie asked with faked calmness, "Is there anything I can help you with, Isabel?" Isabel shook her head swiftly. No, nothing. I'm fine. Sorry for the interruption. Feel free to continue. With that, Isabel spun around and towed Felix back the way they came from. In the end, she dragged Felix to her room. What's the matter? Interested in doing what they were doing earlier? Felix asked before pinning her under him. A flash of irritation made itself known in Isabel. What are you trying to say, Felix? I'm not a pervert. How can I be interested in doing what they were doing? There was no way Isabel was going to admit that her heart was beating a little quicker than it usually did. Nevertheless, Felix deliberately moved closer and closer to her. Isabel wanted to say something else, but the closeness of Felix's face made her heart beat even more chaotically. What is up with what I'm feeling right now? Could it be that I'm romantically interested in Felix? That's impossible. Sophie and Uncle Tristan's earlier actions must have traumatized me. There's no way my heart would be beating this quickly otherwise. No way. Isabel, how is it? Do you feel yourself falling for me? Felix asked in anticipation. He could no longer wait for her to slowly figure love out. Alas, Isabel shoved him away. Do you enjoy being mean to me? Isabel fumed. In the next second, she opened the door and pushed him out of the room. The one I hate most in this world is you. Leave now and stop disturbing my study session for my exam, she hysterically yelled. Words eluded Felix as hurt swamped him. He never thought that she would say that to him, for he always thought that he was someone special to her. Who would have guessed that those words would be directed toward him? A wave of regret struck Isabel when she saw the dejected look on his face. Did I say something wrong? Felix, Before Isabel could finish her sentence, Felix laughed. Sorry for disturbing you. Good luck with your exam. Don't let someone unimportant like me affect your grades. The smile on Felix was an insincere one. Once he said those words, he turned and left. How could he bring himself to hurt her? No matter what she did, he could never bring himself to hurt her. That was why he chose to leave in silence. Isabel bit her lower lip, her heart aching. What's wrong with me? Isn't this what I wanted? Why is my heart hurting so much? Darn it. I've never felt this way before. Isabel then climbed onto her bed to lie on it. She shut her eyes and tried to forget what had just happened. Yet, the more she tried to do that, the clearer those memories became. Tears escaped her eyes. However, it was only when she wiped her face did she realize she was shedding tears. Isabel was bewildered by the discovery. Why am I crying? What's wrong with me? Why am I being so weird? Am I crying because of Felix? Isn't Felix someone trivial this whole time? Meanwhile, Sophie and Tristan were still on the couch, but they were not doing anything. Just then, they saw Felix coming down the stairs with a frown. What happened to him? Wasn't everything fine between him and Isabel earlier? Why does he have that expression on his face now? Something must have happened to him. Sophie, check up on Isabel. Regardless of everything, Felix was still concerned about Isabel, and he did not want her to overthink things. Sophie then got up and went upstairs. At the same time, Felix sat down beside Tristan gloomily. What's wrong? Were you mean to her? Why else would he have that look on his face? He looks like he just found out that the world is ending in the next minute. Felix ran his hand down his face before a heartbreaking smile appeared on his lips. Mean to her? Do you think I can bring myself to do that? Felix questioned. It's not like Tristan doesn't know how much I like Isabel. All right, you're a man, so drop that look. Well, the world hasn't ended yet, so clearly, everything's fine. Mr. Tristan, do you ever doubt yourself? I think that my feelings are unreciprocated right now. She doesn't like me at all. Tristan did not reply to him. So something really did happen. No. Tristan was speaking the truth, for everything in his life had been smooth sailing. He met a girl he liked, and that girl liked him too. He was living a blissful life. At that, Felix could not help but laugh. The content smile on Tristan's face was a clear indicator that Tristan would not understand what Felix was feeling at that moment. I shouldn't be telling you this. Tristan then poured him a glass of red wine. All right, don't do anything that'll affect Isabel's upcoming exam. You know how important the university entrance exam is to her. Isabel needed the grades to prove herself. That way, her father would oppose her desire to debut in the entertainment industry less. I know. Felix just could not hold himself back earlier. Now that he was away from the situation, he realized he had been wrong to have disturbed her. On the other side, when Sophie arrived at Isabel's room, she found Isabel crying. At that, Sophie walked over to the bed and lay down beside her. What happened? Was Felix mean to you? If he was, I'll go downstairs and beat him up right now. Isabel turned to the side when she heard Sophie's voice. Sophie, my chest hurts. What? My chest feels tight as if I can't take in any more breaths. I don't know what's going on with me. Am I dying? Isabel was sure that she was dying because she had never felt her lungs constrict in this way before. Tell me something first. Did Felix do something to you? Isabel only looked even more upset when she recalled Felix's earlier demeanor. Has he gone back? He must be sad to hear that from me just now. I don't know. He asked me to check on you, so I came upstairs, Sophie replied. How dare he bully her in this way? It looks like Felix still has a long way to go. Sophie, do you think I'm being too mean to Felix? I've always been the bully. No, not at all. I think you're doing great. At that, Isabel gave her a doubtful glance. Are you sure? But it looks like I've hurt him for real earlier. He looked devastated. Indeed, it had been Isabel's first time seeing that look on Felix's face. It pained her to see it. So, do you like him? Isabel did not say anything to that. Do I? Although I've always said that I want to be in a relationship, what is love? I haven't even figured that out yet. What kind of feelings do I have for Felix? I don't even know the answer to that. I don't know, was her response, and that was the truth. Sophie patted her cheek. Let it be then. Follow your heart, and don't dwell too much on other things. All right, it's almost time. You have the mathematics exam in the afternoon, so take a nap first. Can you stay here and keep me company? I don't want to be alone right now. Okay, I'll stay here with you, Sophie agreed. A moment of lying in bed later, Isabel opened her eyes again. Sophie, I still can't fall asleep. What do I do? Isabel knew that her afternoon exam was important, but she just could not make herself fall asleep. Then just keep your eyes closed for a rest. You don't need to be asleep. Am I disrupting your schedule? Maybe you should sleep in your room instead. The university entrance exam was the most important event in a person's life, and Isabel could not bear to let herself disturb Sophie. It's fine. I'll stay here with you. Be at ease. I could do those questions even if I were blindfolded. Hearing that, Isabel pursed her lips. Sophie, are you really trying to console me? Why do I feel even more upset after hearing you? Are you sure you're not here to gloat? Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. Sophie genuinely did not mean to do that despite only speaking the truth. Then, the two of them chatted away. At one point, both fell asleep. They did not set an alarm for their naps, but there were two men outside who would not let them miss their exams. Around 2:20, Tristan stood up. I'll wake them. What are you going to do? Tristan said to Felix. If she's still unhappy, I'll go back. I don't want to distract them from their exams. No matter what happens, we'll talk after the exam. I'm fine. Don't worry. I won't distract Isabel. Even if she doesn't like me in the end, I still hope to see her worry-free and happy. When Tristan came to Isabel's room, he pushed open the door to see Sophie and Isabel sleeping. Tristan was not too happy to see his woman sleeping with someone else, even if that someone else was his niece. Just as Tristan came close to the bed, Sophie woke. When she saw him, she instantly realized that it must be almost time for the exam. What time is it? 2:20. All right, it's time to get up, or else you'll be late, he gently told her. Okay. Isabel had not woken up yet, so Sophie shook her. Isabel, wake up. We'll be late if you don't wake up now. Upon hearing the sounds, Isabel opened her eyes. She was initially groggy, but the moment she saw her uncle, she sobered up immediately. Uncle Tristan, why are you in here? This is a girl's room. Can he really just walk in like this? Nonetheless, Tristan's response was a haughty one. This is my house. Isabel took in a deep breath. Fine. I'm only embarrassing myself again. I've taken up Sophie's time during noon, so Uncle Tristan must be angry. I mustn't say anything right now. Instead, I should pretend as if I'm not here. Be quick. I'll be waiting for you outside. Okay. There was not much for Sophie to do other than wash her face in the bathroom. After Tristan was gone, Sophie got out of bed and went to the bathroom. Isabel, hurry up, Sophie urged again when she saw Isabel still on the bed after coming back out of the bathroom. I don't want to take the exam anymore. That's not true. You just don't want to see Felix outside. If you really don't want to see him, I'll go outside and kick him out of the house. With that, Sophie turned to leave. Wait, Sophie. Don't be so rash. He's already pitiful enough, so why do you have to kick him out of the house too? Isabel hastily scrambled out of bed. At that, Sophie could not hold her laughter back. She's clearly super concerned about him, but she doesn't know what her feelings mean yet. What a silly girl. Let's go. Isabel didn't want to freshen up as well and was ready to leave immediately. Otherwise, she would be running late. Don't you want to wash up? No. I'm not in the mood to. The two went downstairs together. Felix did not look at Isabel even after she came down. This made Isabel feel uncomfortable. However, she was no longer upset after she thought about what she had said to him. Forget it. I was in the wrong too. I shouldn't hold a grudge against Felix. Otherwise, I will only make myself angrier. After Tristan gave Sophie the test supplies, he brought her out, leaving Felix and Isabel in the living room. Felix handed Isabel's test supplies to her. Good luck with your exam. His tone sounded calm and unruffled, devoid of emotion. An awkward silence filled the air. Biting her lower lip, Isabel spun on her feet and stubbornly headed out without saying a word. Felix could only smile wryly after seeing her behaving this way. This was the only way he could conceal his disappointment. The truth was he wanted nothing more than to pull her into his embrace. There weren't many people outside of Wisteria Apartments since the students needed to enter the hall half an hour before the university entrance exam was scheduled to start. Looking around, there were only parents left outside of Gypsdale Premier High. Isabel caught up to Sophie just in front of the main entrance. Good luck, Isabel. Tristan wished Isabel luck just before the two girls went in. Uncle Tristan, Isabel felt touched for the first time. As expected, Uncle Tristan is still the one who cared for me the most. Come on. Let's go in now. With that, Sophie left with Isabel. After the two went in for their exam, Felix approached from behind. Must you two fight at this important moment of her life? Don't you know this will affect her negatively? Tristan said disapprovingly. Felix was left wordless. Do you think I wanted to do that? I don't feel great about it at all. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, after the mathematics exam was over, Sophie and Isabel came out after most of the examinees left. How did you do on the exam? Sophie asked Isabel. I don't know how to solve the last question. Isabel only wrote down the mathematical formula on her exam paper. She couldn't help but complain. The questions were too difficult to solve. Was that necessary? Don't worry. It's just a question. You're going to be fine. Did you manage to solve it? Isabel vaguely saw that many people didn't manage to solve the last question when the invigilator collected the papers. Yeah. To that, Isabel was left speechless. Forget it. I don't even need to ask Sophie such a question. It's only natural that she solved everything. With the first day of the exam over, Sophie and Isabel came out to find Tristan and Felix waiting there. Seeing how the two men were waiting for them, Sophie had mixed feelings. Initially, Josiah told Sophie he would come to show his support. However, she rejected him since the weather was too hot. None of her family members came, but her boyfriend came instead. Tristan caught Sophie's eye amidst the crowd. Bedazzled by him, she couldn't take her eyes off him. Sophie went toward Tristan and walked out with him. I'm serious. You don't have to come tomorrow. The weather is scorching hot. Look at you. You're drenched in sweat. The outdoor temperature had reached 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit that day. One could almost cook on the road. Sophie was worried that Tristan might get heat stroke since he waited for her outside. Don't you think this is special? Isn't there a saying on the internet now? If you work hard, your girlfriend might be young enough to take the university entrance exam. That's you. Sophie listened to him quietly. All right. As long as he is happy. Let's head back to get a shower. She reckoned he must have felt uncomfortable being this sweaty. The four of them went back to Wisteria Apartments together. Felix, do you want to take a shower too? Isabel asked when she noticed that Felix was sweating profusely as well. No, I'm fine. I'll wash my face later. He was not used to showering there since he didn't have a designated bathroom. Isabel wanted to apologize but couldn't say a word after seeing Felix behave this way. Forget it. I don't care anymore. At worst, we'll stay this way. After a shower and a change of clothes, Tristan came out. It was a lot more comfortable staying at home in this weather. There is still one more day tomorrow. Why don't we stay in tonight and rest at home? Tristan thought it was best for them to get a good rest at this crucial moment. I agree. I feel tired and want to stay home, Sophie said in approval. I'm fine with anything, Isabel said indifferently. At the moment, she wasn't interested in anything and was unbothered by what they wanted to do that night. What would you like for dinner? I'll go make the necessary arrangements, Felix asked as he stood up. Felix, you may leave if you have something to attend to. Tristan thought it would affect Isabel negatively if Felix continued to stay here. Mr. Tristan, Isabel looked at Tristan as well. Go now. Don't you have many things to handle? Hearing that, Felix gave in. He's right. We should give each other some space. In that case, I'll take my leave then. After all, he wasn't needed here and would only upset Isabel. Hearing Felix's response, Isabel bit her lower lip. She felt bitter. The feeling was unpleasant, but there was nothing she could do. After Felix left, Isabel rose from the couch. Sophie, I don't have an appetite. You two should eat by yourselves. Don't mind me. With that, Isabel went upstairs. Watching Isabel's retreating figure, Sophie found it pitiful. Why did you ask Mr. Northley to leave? What could be more important to him than Isabel now? Isabel's expression broke her heart. I don't want him to affect Isabel. She still has an exam to take tomorrow. Tristan felt it wouldn't matter since Felix had already waited a long time. It would be wasteful for them to get on bad terms now. Sophie understood his intention. But will this make things worse? No, Tristan sounded confident. Sophie merely grunted in acknowledgement, not saying anything more. The exam the next day went smoothly. After leaving the exam hall for the last paper, Isabel finally smiled. After years of studying, I'm done at last. No more complicated mathematics questions anymore. My life begins now. Some students started to rip their books after the exam ended. No one knew who started it, but gradually, everyone joined in and tore their books apart. This was their way to de-stress. After all, those books had tortured them for the last 3 years. From now on, they wouldn't have anything to do with the books. Isabel took out a book and started ripping it apart. Meanwhile, downstairs, the teachers tried to stop the students' manic behaviors, but to no avail. The students were overjoyed and wouldn't listen to a word. Try it, Sophie. It's really stress-relieving. Isabel threw a book to Sophie. The latter put the book aside. I'm not stressed. I don't see a point in me doing this. Ignoring her, Isabel continued to have a lot of fun tearing up the book. It doesn't have to be stress. I really think this is very interesting. It's not environmentally friendly. Unfortunately, the students were so crazy that the school had no way to stop them. You're right. Isabel threw the remaining half of the book aside and sat in front of Sophie. From today onwards, I am no longer a senior. Thinking about the 3 years in Gypsdale Premier High, there are actually a lot of memories worth remembering. Yeah. They would be adults once they start attending university. I hope we can go to the same university. The person Isabel was most reluctant to part with was Sophie. Although they had known each other for less than a year, it seemed as if they had known each other for a lifetime. Well, I don't want to learn singing. Isabel was rendered speechless for a moment before she said, Sophie, how can you say that? Don't you have the slightest bit of reluctance to part with me? Well, I'm okay with it actually, Sophie replied. They were both in Gypsdale anyway. Besides, Isabel would still be an artist of TS Entertainment, so they would be able to meet often. Hey, why are you always so rational? Isabel could not help but lament. Can't she just let herself go and act impulsive sometimes? After packing up her things and leaving school, Sophie was stopped by a girl. Is there something I can help you with? I'm a junior, and I'm going to be a senior soon. Could I ask you to give me all the books for your senior year? The girl believed that she should be able to get better results with half the effort in her senior year by having the books of a top student. Sure. Those books were useless to Sophie anyway. Looking at the girl, Isabel could not help but laugh. What are you laughing at? Let me tell you right now that you should not have asked for her books. Her books are all clean. Sophie's books were as good as new, so they would not be of much use if the girl took them. The girl obviously did not believe it. Give me an address, and I'll get someone to send it to you. All of Sophie's books were in Wisteria Apartments, but she did not want to take the girl there. Hearing that, the girl immediately gave her an address. Thank you, the girl said gratefully before running away. Sophie, your charisma is really something to be envious of. If a person like you enters the entertainment industry, you will definitely be very popular. Are you really not going to join the entertainment industry with me? No matter what, it won't hurt to give the entertainment industry a chance. Nah. I'll just be your financial backer. In order to celebrate the end of Sophie and Isabel's university entrance exam, the group went to Galaxy Club. Galaxy Club was one of the most luxurious clubs in Gypsdale, and it had everything people needed. The place was one of Charles's properties. However, because it had only recently opened, it was the first time for Sophie and Isabel to visit the club. Other than the group, Cecilia was also present. She had been filming abroad and just came back that day. Knowing that they were having a gathering, she immediately showed up. To be honest, Sophie, you're really awesome. The people you know are all rich and powerful. Cecilia said jokingly. Yeah, Sophie nodded and admitted. She then asked, how's the new movie going? With me around, it's only natural that everything's going well. Don't you know that I was born under a lucky star? Cecilia joked. In truth, her success was entirely because of her hard work. However, some reporters always like to say that she was born under a lucky star, which was a preposterous claim. After all, in the world they were living in, success was not something that came easy. Sophie knew how hard Cecilia worked, so she did not say anything about her response. By the way, your contract is about to expire, isn't it? Are you interested in joining TS Entertainment? It was hard for Sophie to see the woman working so hard alone. I thought you'd never ask. I was wondering why you poached the Wheelers but not me. Cecilia sounded aggrieved. After all, she was once the winner of the Best Actress award. Not to mention she also did Sophie a big favor. I'll definitely poach you. The reason why I set up TS Entertainment was for you guys, anyway. Besides, it's an undeniable fact that Cecilia's an actress with potential. Sophie believed that Cecilia could definitely become an actress with good acting skills. I'm just afraid my agency won't let me go so easily, Cecilia replied. After all, she had both ability and popularity now. As long as you're willing to come, you can leave the other problems to me. You don't have to worry about anything at all. Cecilia nodded. Well, I see no reason to decline your offer after hearing you say that. In any case, she still hoped to fight side by side with Sophie. Great. Once your contract expires, you can transfer to our agency. I'll also support you if you want to set up your own company. All Sophie wanted was for Cecilia's work to go smoothly. In response, Cecilia pulled her into a hug. Sophie, you're the nicest to me. It's true. Even my parents aren't as good to me as you are. It's all right, I guess. The first thing that Tristan saw when he came over was Cecilia hugging his girlfriend again, which upset him. All right, that's enough. Let's go and eat. Tristan went up to Sophie. Cecilia was aware that Tristan was displeased with her. Nonetheless, she did not want to let go of Sophie. Charles almost burst out laughing upon seeing Tristan's reaction. What's wrong with Mr. Tristan? Does he have to be jealous of a woman? Felix glanced at him. What's so surprising about that? He's even jealous of his own niece. Meanwhile, Sean said nothing and simply headed over to the private room with the others. After they all sat down, Charles said, "Do make yourself at home whenever you're here. Just let me know if you need anything." "Don't worry. We won't stand on ceremony," Felix said in a joking manner. "I have asked my staff to register everyone for lifetime memberships." "What the hell can a membership do? Can it give us discounts?" Isabel pouted, finding his offer stingy. Charles laughed. "It's a lifetime membership that lets you use the club's services for free." "Oh, now that's awesome." Isabel was satisfied. As expected, Charles is a very reliable man. Please feel free to talk to me if you have any comments about this place. I'll definitely make improvement. With that, Charles immediately got his staff to serve the dishes. The chefs at Galaxy Club were poached by Charles from a 5-star hotel, so the food they prepared was naturally scrumptious. During the meal, Tristan whispered in Sophie's ear, "Never let other women hug you in the future, or I'll get jealous." Sophie knew that Cecilia's action of hugging her had upset him. "Tristan, she's a girl and my best friend. We're friends who can do anything for each other, so what does it matter if we hug?" "No, I can't allow that. You're mine and mine only." Tristan would not allow such a thing to happen again. Sophie couldn't help shaking her head. "I'm sorry, but I can't promise you that. It's not like I can push her away when she hugs me." Besides, she did not think there was any issue with a simple hug. He's the weird one here. It's not other people's fault. Tristan grew upset as he felt like Sophie valued Cecilia over him. Gosh. Why am I so pathetic? Upon noticing that he wasn't eating, Sophie placed a piece of fish on his plate. "Stop throwing a tantrum and eat. He's not a kid anymore. Why does he always need me to coax him? I'm not even good at doing that." Tristan could only sigh. "I'm her boyfriend, yet I don't even have a say in things." After witnessing Tristan's behavior, Cecilia piped up, "Sophie, you might as well dump this boyfriend of yours. He's too small-minded. Leave him, and I'll introduce a better guy to you." She was now acquainted with many big shots, so she was not afraid to provoke Tristan. What's the big deal with hugging? We even slept in the same bed before. Is he going to get jealous over that too? Hearing Cecilia, Tristan glanced at her. If this were someone else, they would have been terrified. However, Cecilia was unfazed. She had Sophie as her trump card, so Tristan could not possibly do anything to her. Cecilia, stop bullying him, Sophie chided, knowing very well Cecilia was doing that on purpose. She figured the two were incompatible, which was why they often fought when they met. Cecilia snorted and reminded, Sophie, don't forget that I'm your best friend. You're only a friend, while I will be her husband and the father of her children in the future, retorted Tristan. He was confident Cecilia would never be able to surpass him. Hearing that, Cecilia was rendered speechless. When Tristan saw how pissed off she looked, he smiled smugly. These people are nothing to Sophie. I am the most important person to her, and that is all that matters. That's enough. Can we please just eat in peace? Sophie finally snapped. Seeing that she was actually getting impatient, Cecilia finally behaved. Just then Sean told Tristan, by the way, Clayton is in big trouble now. Zales Corporation lost its influence after failing to snag that big project. Clayton is a cunning man, so you guys have to be careful. Clayton was the kind of person who would go to any lengths when he was desperate. Yeah. No one else is to blame for everything that's happening to him now. He deserved it, Tristan uttered. The biggest mistake Clayton made was messing with Sophie. There was no way Tristan would go easy on whoever dared to touch his woman. That's right. The people in Gypsdale are actually glad to see him suffering now. As Clayton had offended many people before, everyone thought he deserved what was coming to him. Anyway, just be careful these days, Sean repeated. After all, it was better to avoid unnecessary trouble. Charles chimed in and told Isabel. Especially you, Isabel. You're the weakest among us. You should refrain from going out on your own for now. If you need anything, let us know. We'll accompany you. Clayton was currently looking for a way to end his crisis. Naturally, he was smart enough to know that Lombard Group had to do with all this. All right. Don't worry about me. I won't go out alone, Isabel reassured. Although she couldn't do much to help, she at least knew better than to cause trouble for others. That applies to you as well, Sophie. Clayton must be putting all the blame on you right now. You have to be careful, okay? Sean cautioned. He was most worried about Sophie. Thank you for your concern, but I'm not afraid that he would come for me. Regardless, you have to be on your guard. Tell me if you need anything. As Sean said that, he decided to find a few men to protect Sophie in secret. Sophie could only nod to ease his worries. I got it. Clayton totally deserved this, Cecilia chipped in. He doesn't even respect his artists. Whenever they had a meeting, he would always openly shame those artists who don't earn much. Because of that, many people were happy to hear that he was in hot water now. Suddenly, Cecilia remembered something and added, wait, what will happen to the artists under his company now? She was quite worried about them. It's up to them now. If they're capable enough, there will be other agencies willing to sign them, Sophie said. Since TS Entertainment was relatively small, it did not have the capacity to take in so many artists. Sophie, I have a friend who's an unknown actress under Sky Media. She never got any opportunities there, but she's really nice. Her acting isn't bad, too. Why don't you sign her? Cecilia mentioned. She used to be in the same film crew as that young lady. The latter was a great person, but she wasn't doing well in her career since she was never given any opportunities. Okay. Sophie was quick to agree, as she knew it took Cecilia a lot of courage to make that request. Feeling touched, Cecilia said, Sophie, you're so nice to me. How about this? I'll sign a 10-year long-term contract with you. She thought that was a good way to repay Sophie's favor. Isn't it only right for me to treat you well? Sophie responded. Considering the depth of their relationship, it was natural for them to help each other. Once again, Cecilia was moved. She did not think Sophie was obligated to help her. Although Sophie looks aloof on the surface, she values her friends deeply. That's why she's so nice to me. All right, enough talking about this. Don't forget we're here today to celebrate the graduation of these two beautiful ladies. As Charles spoke, he stood up and raised his glass. Congratulations on graduating from high school. With that, everyone got up from their seats. That's right. Your life is just about to start. Clayton is nothing, Felix declared. They then clinked glasses. After the meal, they headed to the bar next to the restaurant. Charles is quite well versed when it comes to food and entertainment, Cecilia remarked. Even though she had basically seen it all before, she had to admit that his club was fun. Of course. How else could he have attained his status today? Sophie commented. It was a given fact that the four men were no ordinary figures. While the men played games and talked about business, the three ladies sat aside and sipped on their milkshakes. Sophie, to be honest, I didn't expect you to date Tristan, and for so long at that. Cecilia used to be worried sick about Sophie. She was scared that Tristan was just playing with Sophie and that the latter would get hurt eventually. Seeing how happy her friend was now, however, Cecilia could finally feel at ease. As Sophie glanced at Tristan, who was playing billiards, her gaze softened. Isabel, they're being so lovey-dovey before me. I can't stand it, Cecilia yelled. Sorry, I'm used to it already. Isabel had already been forced to watch their public displays of affection countless times, so she didn't mind it anymore. Cecilia patted Isabel's shoulder. That's right. The most pitiful one is you. She could imagine how pathetic Isabel looked standing behind the couple. This couple is so inconsiderate. Sophie paid her no mind. When did I show off my relationship before you two? Every time and everywhere, Sophie retorted. What can I do about Tristan treating me well? Why don't you two date too? Then you won't feel sad when people show off their love before you. Do you think everyone is so lucky as to meet someone they love? Cecilia asked with a sigh. Having been in the entertainment industry for so long, she was even more cognizant of the fact that it was truly difficult to meet a genuine person. A successful man would be faced with greater temptation, and not many can resist temptation. It was rare that Tristan could treat Sophie as such. Yes, it's not simple. This matter is too complicated. I've decided not to date. I'll only focus on my career. Isabel still hadn't debuted yet, but she had decided to focus on singing and not care about dating after debuting. You don't need to be so pessimistic, my friend. When it comes to relationships, let nature take its course. One shouldn't reject everyone interested in them, nor should they look back after breaking up. Girls must live a free and easy life to be happy and not make their lives a mess because of a man. Isabel hummed in response but was still despondent. Sophie, what's wrong with her? Something's not right. She looks like she got dumped. Although Cecilia had not been in many relationships, she had acted in a lot of romance dramas. She could tell something was up with Isabel with just a glance. She argued with Felix. Don't tell me she likes Mr. Northley. Arguing is not a big deal. He's just a man. It seems like it, but I don't think she knows. Don't bother about this. Relationship issues can't be fixed by others. They should be the ones dealing with it. Cecilia shook her head. I can't be bothered anyway. If she dates too, then I'll be the only one single. That's so sad. To Cecilia, everyone being single would be the best case. Felix was sitting a distance away, but his gaze was fixated on Isabel, making him seem absent-minded. Felix, what are you doing? Stay focused. Charles patted his shoulder. Felix simply scooted to a side and continued drinking. What's wrong with you? Does he have to be like that? Just leave him be. Tristan stopped Charles. Charles decided to ignore Felix. Why is it so tiring to like someone? Why can't I just confess to her directly? If she accepts, we date. And if she doesn't, then never mind. What's there to consider? I have been aware of my feelings for Isabel since long ago. We grew up together and I have always been by her side. But our love story turned out to be a tragedy. That night, Felix drank a lot, and naturally, Isabel noticed that. If you're really worried, go over to check on him. Do you see that? So many beauties around him are staring at him hungrily. Sophie joked. Isabel snorted. I don't care how he is. How does that concern me? We're giving each other the cold shoulder right now. Since Felix is ignoring me, why do I have to stick my nose in his business? However, when she saw a bold girl touch Felix, she could not bear it any longer and instantly shot up from the couch. She dashed over and dragged that bold girl aside. What are you doing? You're a girl. How could you be so shameless? How dare she feel Felix up when he's drunk? The girl snorted and said boldly, Mind your own business. I like this young man, and I'll check into a hotel room with him later. Do you like him too? Let's compete to see who gets him. You. She wants to check into a hotel room with Felix? Who does she think she is? I won't allow it. You won't allow it? What right do you have to say that? The girl was also rude and unreasonable. Since you like him too, why don't I wake him up and ask him who he likes? I like him. Who told you I like him? Isabel immediately denied it. Then there's no need for us to argue anymore. Since you don't like him, go away now. Don't stand here and waste my time. How can she be so inconsiderate? She doesn't like him, but I do. Isabel immediately stretched her arm out to block the girl. What the hell are you doing? Move away. The two got into a scuffle, and upon seeing that, a few girls who came with the bold girl immediately went over to surround Isabel. What are you trying to do? You don't like him anyway. Why can't I get him? Yes. Exactly. How shameless. You. Isabel had never met such brazen girls before. Not only were they shameless, they even insulted her. Let's go take a look. Cecilia said, laughing. Isabel is so cute. Sophie got up and went over with Cecilia. Ladies, excuse me. This is our friend. We're leaving with him now, Cecilia said to the girls. Upon seeing that it was the celebrity Cecilia Lance, the girls surrounded her to get her signature. Only after Cecilia gave the girls her autographs did they leave. The three looked at Felix, who was asleep. Isabel, what are you going to do? Felix was dead drunk. They couldn't let him continue staying there. Sophie, tell Uncle Tristan later that I'm going to send Felix home, and tell him not to worry, Isabel replied resignedly. Whatever. Although I'm angry, I can't deny that Felix has always been nice to me. Will you be fine alone? Yes. My driver is right outside. Isabel, you must be careful. Men are beasts when they're drunk. You. Cecilia was really afraid that Isabel would get taken advantage of, as Felix was completely intoxicated. Every man has an animalistic side. He won't hurt me, Isabel said confidently, as she believed Felix would never harm her regardless of how ugly their argument was. She patted Felix's face. Felix, wake up. We're going home. Seriously, how can he get so drunk? Is it related to me? Is it really because of me? Isabel called the driver and asked him to come in and bring Felix out. Sophie and Cecilia returned to the couch and sat down. Are you really going to let her be? It really depends on fate sometimes. No one can say for sure. Just let her be. It's not in our control if something really does happen. When Tristan and the others came back, they realized Isabel and Felix were gone. Where's Isabel? Sophie summarized the situation for Tristan. It's okay. Let the two of them solve their own problem. Having them stay will just affect everyone's mood here. Tristan was broad-minded. He understood Felix and knew that the latter would not hurt Isabel. Tristan and Sophie shared the same sentiment. Are you tired? If you're tired, I'll take you back now, Tristan asked thoughtfully. Sophie nodded. I'm not tired, but I feel like leaving. Okay. Let's go then. After that, Tristan said to the others, are you guys going to continue or go back now? We're leaving. The main star is not here anymore. What's the point of staying? Let's leave together. Sean was weary too. Seeing that Sean was going to leave as well, Cecilia immediately asked, Mr. Burton, could you give me a lift, please? I didn't drive here today. Sophie glanced at her. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm telling the truth. My assistant went abroad with me for a long time. Now that we're back, I gave her a few days off, Cecilia explained. I'm really telling the truth. I don't have any ulterior motives to get close to the lawyer. I didn't say anything, did I? You were the one who's been talking. Are you feeling guilty? Sophie teased in a hushed tone. Cecilia pinched her. What are you talking about? I can't stand the lawyer's coldness. Even if I'm looking for someone to date, I'll look for a passionate lover. Why would I find an iceberg like him to freeze myself? Sophie shook her head, not planning to stick her nose into other people's business. You don't have to explain anything to me. But as your friend, I have to remind you that the lawyer is really difficult to deal with. How difficult can he be? Cecilia shrugged nonchalantly. Once I have the time, I'll go and hit on him. As long as I want to, there's no man who won't fall for my charms. Sophie disagreed. Cecilia, that man is not one you want to mess with. You'd better not bother him. Or you might not be able to bear the consequences. Sean was not one to be trifled with. All right, I get it. I know what I'm doing. You don't have to worry about me. Cecilia wanted to hit on him, but she had to have the time to do it. After this movie is over, I must take a good vacation. It had been a long time since Cecilia had had a sweet relationship. She needed to de-stress. You'd better concentrate on your career, Sophie advised. In her opinion, if Cecilia was not looking for a serious relationship, it'd be better for her to focus on filming instead of fooling around. Otherwise, she might end up hurting the man and herself. Cecilia felt a little melancholy. To be honest, I really like filming, but people have to know how to regulate themselves. As the saying goes, art is life, and life is art. If I don't even understand life myself, how can I get better at portraying a character in a movie? Just then Tristan said, Sean, you'll drive her back. He was unwilling to bring Cecilia along with him and Sophie. Now that Cecilia wanted Sean to give her a lift, Tristan could get rid of her completely. Cecilia looked at Tristan with a hurt expression. Mr. Tristan, do you really hate me so much? Rendered speechless, Tristan decided to ignore her. Ms. Lance, where do you live? Sean glanced at his watch. Since Cecilia was Sophie's friend, sending her back home would not be a problem. We probably won't be heading the same way. It's up to you now whether or not you want to send me back, Cecilia joked. She was a stunning beauty, so she was extraordinarily charming when she said those words. Ms. Lance, it's my honor to send you back. Sean rose to his feet. Charles looked regretful. Actually, I want to give her a ride too. Cecilia was considered a graceful and gorgeous lady even in the upper-class circle. Cecilia merely smiled in response. Having been in the entertainment industry for so long, she genuinely disdained Charles's behavior. Even if she wanted to find someone to have a fling with, it wouldn't be Charles. The irritation in Charles's heart grew. Why does no one like me? My looks and body figure are as great as Sean's. Besides, I understand women more than he does. Thank you. I shall leave Cecilia to you then, Sophie said to Sean. Ms. Lance, let's go. Cecilia immediately went to Sean's side. As the two stood side by side, they looked surprisingly compatible. Cecilia got into Sean's car, then Sophie and Tristan left as well. Is your friend interested in Sean? Tristan asked. In fact, there were quite a lot of people who found Sean attractive. Although Sean was a quiet person, he would make a great life partner. He and Charles were poles apart in terms of personality. Probably not. Sophie was unsure as well. Cecilia had always been like that. Sophie had never seen her in a serious relationship. She'd better not. If she's really interested in him, you should remind her not to make a move on Sean, Tristan replied. Sean's highly committed to relationships. Once he falls for someone, he'll love that person wholeheartedly. Okay. Sophie knew he was telling the truth. That was what she was worried about as well. What's wrong with the people around me recently? Why does everyone want to date? By the time they got back to Wisteria Apartments, it was already past 11 o'clock. The university entrance exam is over. What are your plans after this? Back then, Tristan had asked her to move into Wisteria Apartments because it was closer to Gypsdale Premier High. But now that the university entrance exam was over, she didn't need to live there anymore. What do you mean? Are you chasing me out? I mean, this place is quite far from the company. Why don't we move to another place? We? What do you mean by that? Sophie was baffled. Is he planning to live with me? It doesn't mean anything else. We're just going to rent a place together. Tristan hoped that his answer would make her feel at ease. Isn't that what living together means? We can have our own room and just live together. Sophie immediately shook her head. No. Why? Distance makes the heart grow fonder, Sophie answered. She really didn't want to move in together so soon. We should take things slow instead of moving too fast. Why? Tristan was a tad disappointed. No reason. I like how things are right now. All right. If you find it inconvenient to live here, let's move to another place. Since she thought they were doing well now, he didn't want to force her. Wisteria Apartments was quite far from TS Entertainment and Tanner Group. We don't need to move for now. Otherwise, we'll have to move again when university starts. It'll be too troublesome. Sure. We'll move once you decide which university you want to go to. Getting a new place was not a problem for him. Clayton lay, completely spent, on the couch. He had never been in such a wretched state before, as he had busied himself asking around for favors all day. Willow didn't dare utter a word as she kept him company. Clayton, are you okay? Do you want some coffee? This will be an excellent opportunity for me to get on Clayton's good side. I will be his only woman once he pulls himself together if I can show him the love and support he needs now. I will have nothing to fear by then. Clayton sat up and stared at Willow coldly. Who let you in? Willow shuddered. What's gotten into him? Why is he so scary? Clayton, I came over because I was worried about you. I don't mean anything else. You worry about me. Willow, do you know why I'm in such a state today? Clayton's temper flared up. He had been running around asking for favors and licking boots all because of Sophie. Clayton, I know it's all because of Sophie. But I have nothing to do with her. I'm on your side. Really? Clayton stood up, made his way over, wrapped his arm around her waist, and pulled her toward him. You like me that much, huh? You want to stay by my side, don't you? Of course. Clayton knew what she was after. Willow nodded. Clayton, I really like you. I will do whatever it takes to stay by your side, she said determinedly. Is that so? Well, you can stay if you can trick Sophie over. You know how much of a pinch I'm in right now. I can be with you once my problems are taken care of. Clayton bit her lips. Willow's heart raced. She knew that this was her only chance. All right, Clayton. I'll do whatever you ask of me, she said as an idea formed in her head. Show me your sincerity, Clayton said gently. I know you like me, but you're just one of many. You have to show me you're the one who likes me most, right? Willow nodded. Okay, Clayton. I'll show you how much I like you. Willow left at that. Clayton scoffed. Sophie? Humph. We'll see who has the last laugh. Does she think I'm a pushover? I'm not letting her off that easily after everything she has done to me. It had been a while since Sophie had visited Tanner Group because of her university entrance exam. She took time out of her busy schedule to visit Tanner Group now that her university entrance exam was over. The board of directors of Tanner Group didn't know that Sophie would be coming. However, everyone was doing their job when she arrived. Sophie was pleased with what she saw. Ms. Tanner. Good day, Ms. Tanner. She was greeted by many of her employees along the way. One could say that business was flourishing for Tanner Group. Sophie made her way toward Victor's office, only to find a young lady making a fuss at the door. I want to see Victor. Where did he go? Get his ass over now, the young lady said arrogantly. Mr. White is not in. Please leave. Victor's secretary replied in a level tone. Let me get this straight with you. I'm pregnant, and the child belongs to Victor. I won't leave this place if I don't see him today, the young lady said shamelessly. Ms., this is Tanner Group, not a place for you to fool around. Please leave. Sophie walked over and gave the young lady a sharp look. The young lady immediately put her guard up when she saw Sophie. Who are you? What is your relationship with Victor? Are you also his lover? Sophie furrowed her brows. Get her out of here, she said to the secretary. Okay, Ms. Sophie. I'll get the security over. What are you trying to do? I'm telling you I'm pregnant. How dare you lay a finger on me? The young lady said rudely. I don't care who you are. Victor is mine and mine alone. Don't you even think of snatching him away. Ms. Tanner, she must have lost her mind. Why don't you go in first? I'll take care of things here. The secretary's forehead was dotted with cold sweat. He didn't want to leave a bad impression on the CEO. Ms. Tanner. The young lady stared at Sophie in disbelief. She looks way younger than me. You're Ms. Sophie from the Tanner family? Is Victor here because of you? That was the scene Victor saw when he returned from his meeting. Crystal, what are you doing here? Who told you to come here? Crystal Legrone immediately sidled up to Victor the moment she laid eyes on him. Mr. White, I'm pregnant, and the baby is yours. You must take responsibility. Victor's face darkened. Ms. Tanner, you should go in first. I'll be right with you. Victor was rendered speechless. Is she here to ruin my reputation after everything I have done for Tanner Group? Sophie nodded. She sat down on the couch in Victor's office, pulled her phone out, and replied to a WhatsApp message from Tristan. Victor joined her after about 10 minutes or so. He even made her a cup of coffee himself. Mr. White, I hope this doesn't happen again in the company. It's not good for us. Sophie went straight to the point. Victor immediately nodded. Don't worry. It won't happen again. It's not my place to interfere with your private life, but it's best if you don't ruin Tanner Group's reputation. She had taken over as Tanner Group's CEO, and it was her responsibility to make sure that Tanner Group measures up to Lombard Group. She would never allow her company to be affected because of such insignificant trivialities under her watch. Who would have thought that someone as prominent as Victor would be so reserved and modest in front of Sophie? Hand me the quarterly reports. It was time she planned Tanner Group's future now that she had some time to spare. Victor immediately asked his secretary to bring him the quarterly reports. Overall, Tanner Group was growing but at a much slower pace. She would need her board of directors to work even harder if they wanted to be the leading enterprise of Chon-AEA. Mr. White, do you have anything in mind for Tanner Group's future? Sophie asked out of the blue after she was done with the quarterly reports. I hope Tanner Group will become the leading enterprise in Gypsdale. He would never have applied to become Tanner Group's general manager if he hadn't taken an interest in their business. Sophie shook her head. What do you mean? Victor asked, confused. That's not enough. I want Tanner Group to be on par with Lombard Group and become a multinational company that will create an impact. This was her plan for Tanner Group. Ms. Tanner, I'm afraid that's not easy to achieve. It wasn't that Victor wanted to go against her will, but it really was a difficult task.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.